I'd never heard any of their music. I didn't know what any of the guys looked like or anything. So when I actually initially went down to the sort of the first jam session I ever had with the guys, I could actually walk in with pretty much an objective view because of that fact, because I had no idea what these guys sounded like, what kind of sound they were going for. So there was no preconceived anything on my part. So much so that even when I walked into this room, I didn't even know who to look for because I didn't know what Phil looked like or the two Brians. So that's pretty much how far the or how far that it's why that I never knew anything about him, because nothing was ever released in America.
Boy, Metallica did a great cover of that song, though, the Thin Lizzy version of Whiskey in a Jar.
They really did, and what Metallica did, they not only covered it, they pretty much made it their own. With the sound they put on there and the arrangement that they put on there, and I think if you're gonna cover a song, anybody's song, that's the way you should do it. It's great, paying homage to this band or that band or whatever, but if you're gonna go to all the time and the expense and all that to cover a song, in my opinion, you really should make the song as much of your own as possible. It's like it's kind of the way we did it with Rosalie, the Bob Seger song. Now, if you actually heard the original version that that Bob Seger recorded, it's pretty much a real mid-tempo, much more acoustic type of song. And when Phil first brought it to everybody's attention that, hey, we should actually cover this song, I remember myself and Brian Roberts kind of looking at each other a little bit on the confused side. What are you talking about, Phil? Well, we don't actually get this, right? And that's when he picked up, the bass, and then he pumped up the tempo quite a bit, and that's when we got it. We understood what he was talking about. And then from there, Brian and I were able to add a lot more things to the song. And, we actually made that song our own. So much so that, John Sykes and myself, we did the live One Night Only Thin Lizzy album. And when it came to putting the credits down, I mistakenly said, oh, yeah, well, Phil wrote that song. And it was a huge embarrassment to me. We had to get a hold of the Seger people and apologize for our mistake in actually doing that. But it's what I mean. We had so made it our own, that one, that I'd completely forgotten that Bob Seger had written it.
Whoops.
Sorry about that.
Let's do another song from Still Dangerous, the new album by Thin Lizzy, then more of your calls for Scott. I think you'll know this one, so I'll just play it here. Just great live versions of these songs. Thin Lizzy, Still Dangerous is the brand new CD. Bay Area, Santa Clara. Ed, welcome to Rockline. You're on with Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Good. Hey, I had the pleasure of meeting you a couple times, once after a 21 Gun show and a couple of Thin Lizzy shows.
Cool.
The last time I met you, I finally had a camera to take a picture with you, and we took the picture, and the camera died.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. That's typical, curse. Isn't it? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's another Thin Lizzy curse.
Well, hopefully next time.
No, we'll get it the next time. Yeah, easy.
Okay, so my questions for you are, you mentioned earlier about the Thin Lizzy curse, and there's one story I heard about where Brian got into some sort of fight in a bar or something and got his hand cut really badly and had to leave the tour, and I was wondering if you could elaborate maybe on that story.
Yeah, that was kind of a big one for us there. We were just heading out for the Queen tour, as a matter of fact. We went out with Queen twice in the United States, and this was, the first one. And, it was a big deal for us. Once again, we hadn't played in America a lot. We, offered this really great tour with Queen. It was going to be in every arena, in every city, all over. So it was a big, important tour. Yeah, and Brian went, I think it was about 3 days before we were, going to jump out on this tour. And unfortunately, Brian went out to this club in London. It was kind of a famous club. It was called the Speakeasy. And I guess he had taken a few too many sips of the golden nectar there, and he picked a fight with the wrong guys is what happened. And one of the other guys had picked up a wine bottle, and Brian's hand was on the table, and this guy absolutely smashed his hand with a wine bottle.
Ouch.
Yeah, and it cut his hand between the middle finger and the ring finger. It nearly cut it right down to the tendon. In fact, I even think it nicked the tendon. So that was him out. And that was on the left hand too. So he was done, and now we're really in danger of now the tour is absolutely threatened at this point. It's either we get somebody else in or we don't go at all. Now, not going at all, especially for Phil, that was just not an option. That is not going to happen. So our next option was, well, who's going to know these songs the best up until this point, and who's going to be able to catch on to them in the shortest space of time? And the number one choice at that point, because he had previously been in the band for a short stint, was Gary Moore. So that's when Gary stepped in, and we continued on with the Queen tour. But it was kind of touch and go there for a while. That was, I think, our first really big shock that that the curse of Thin Lizzy was looming large over our head. So that's how that happened.
Well, you sure got a good player to stand in for Brian. Let's move on. We're going to go to Grand Rapids, Michigan now and talk to Todd. Todd, you're on Rockline.
Hi, how you doing, Scott?
Hi, Todd. How are you?
Oh, fine.
Cool.
Hey, I never had the pleasure of seeing you guys, so I'll get right to the question. Now, in the song, "The Boys Are Back in Town," now, did Phil says hanging out at Dino's Bar and Grill. Now, was Dino's Bar and Grill a spot where Thin Lizzy first got their start?
No. As a matter of fact, Dino's Bar and Grill is actually a reference to oh, geez, what's the name of that show? It had, you remember this, Bobby? Kooky.
Sunset.
On the 77
Sunset Strip.
77 Sunset Strip. There we go. And on our very first tour of America, Phil went looking for 77 Sunset Strip. And, of course, it didn't exist.
That's right.
and in its place was Dino's, right? Dino's Bar and Grill. And that's how it got incorporated in the song. He was actually looking for 77 Sunset Strip, and in its place was Dino's Bar and Grill. So that's how that came about in the song.
There you got your story, Todd. Thanks for checking in with us tonight. We're going to play another song from Still Dangerous live at the Tower Theater in Philly, 1977. Let's take a walk on the Opium Trail.